Welcome to the Prescott Lab podcast, not just theory, practical science for men who refuse to give up. Gentlemen, let me start with a question. What if the secret to bringing back the strong blood flow and firm, confident erections you once had in your youth wasn't hidden in a pill, a prescription, or some risky surgery, but in something so simple you could begin it tonight, a nightly ritual? Just a few drops of one natural oil, and a hidden spot on your body most men never think about. I know it sounds almost too simple, but after more than 3 decades as a urologist working with men in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, I've learned this. The body is not broken, it's waiting for the right signal. And once you give it that signal, your vitality can return faster than you thought possible. I'm Dr. Jonathan Prescott, and I want you to hear this clearly. Your masculinity is not gone. With the right approach, it can be restored safely, naturally, and without shame. For years, men have been told the only answers are pills, injections, or expensive supplements. But the truth is, the foundation of your vitality isn't swallowed, it's stimulated. Tonight, I'll show you how something as ordinary as castor oil can unlock circulation, restore confidence, and even bring back the natural rise of morning erections, sometimes in as little as 7 days. But here's the critical detail. If you apply it to the wrong place, nothing happens. That's why this conversation matters. In just a few moments, I'll reveal the exact spot, the right method, and the 7-day plan you can follow starting tonight. Now, before we dive in, let me ask you for 2 quick favors. First, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future guides. Practical, science-backed tips made for men over 60 who refuse to surrender to age. Second, click like. Why? Because every like tells the algorithm this message matters. It pushes this truth out to other men who are silently struggling, awake at 3 a.m. searching for answers. By liking, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping brothers across the world who need to hear they are not broken and that hope is still real. And if you're ready to start tonight, type the number 7 in the comments to let me know you're joining the 7-day plan. If you think I can make this message better, type 0. Either way, I read every comment because your voice matters. Gentlemen, the journey begins here. And it starts with one forgotten truth about male health after 60. Erections don't fade because your desire disappears. They fade because circulation, the lifeblood of your masculinity, slows down. Once you understand that, everything begins to change. Gentlemen, let me start this section with something I've heard in my office more times than I can count. A man in his mid-60s sat across from me, his hands folded, his eyes heavy. He leaned forward and said quietly, "Doc, I don't feel like myself anymore. My mornings aren't the same. My energy is gone, and intimacy, well, it feels like a memory now." If you've ever felt that way, you are not alone. These words echo in the voices of men I meet every week, men who spent their lives strong, dependable, resilient, and now feel betrayed by their own bodies. But here's the truth that so many forget: you are not broken. What you are experiencing is not weakness. It's not a moral failing. And it's certainly not a sign that your manhood has expired. It is something far simpler and far more hopeful. Most men assume testosterone is the reason erections fade with age. They see commercials promising hormone replacement and think, that must be it, my testosterone dropped. And yes, hormones play a role, but after decades of treating thousands of patients, I can tell you this with confidence. The true foundation of male performance is not testosterone, it is circulation. Think of it this way: testosterone might set the mood, but blood flow makes the moment possible. Without strong circulation, no hormone, no desire. No willpower can create the kind of vitality you once knew. What happens with age is simple biology. Over time, blood vessels lose their elasticity, the arteries narrow. The intricate network of vessels that feeds your lower body slows down, and when blood flow weakens, so do erections. It isn't that you've lost your manhood. It's that the lifeblood of your masculinity, the steady, surging river of circulation, has slowed to a trickle. This is also why so many quick fixes, pills, supplements, even certain procedures fall short. They target the surface, not the root cause. They try to force performance without repairing the foundation. That's like patching a roof when the real problem is a crumbling foundation. And I know that realization might sting at first. Maybe you're thinking, Doc, if it's circulation, what can I do? Isn't that just aging? But let me stop you there. Because this is exactly where the hope begins. Unlike testosterone levels, which naturally decline and are difficult to reverse, circulation can be stimulated, improved, restored. The blood vessels in your body still respond to the right signals. The tissues in your lower body still wake up when given the right attention. I've seen it happen again and again. Men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who thought intimacy was behind them, suddenly rediscovering morning erections, renewed sensitivity, and the confidence they thought was gone forever. It doesn't happen because of another pill. It doesn't happen by accident. It happens when men address the real issue, blood flow. And that's exactly what this ritual is about. Castor oil applied in the right way doesn't just soothe the surface. It penetrates, it warms, it stimulates the very vessels that deliver life to the organs of masculinity. It works with your body instead of against it. So here is the forgotten truth every man over 60 must remember. Your masculinity is not dictated by your birth certificate or the calendar on the wall. It is not stolen by age. It is governed by blood flow, and blood flow can be improved. When you understand that, you begin to see why so many men find new hope in something as simple as a nightly ritual. 10 minutes, a few drops of oil applied to the right place, and suddenly your body is reminded of what it was designed to do. Gentlemen, you are not broken, you are not too old, and you are not finished. Your circulation may have slowed, but it can be revived. And when it revives, so does your strength, your intimacy, your confidence. That is the foundation of everything we'll cover from here. Gentlemen, let me clear up the biggest mistake I see men make when they first hear about using oils for their sexual health. They assume naturally that the oil should go directly on the penis. It feels logical, right? That's where the problem is most obvious. But here's the truth. Applying castor oil directly there does almost nothing. In some cases, it even leads to irritation and disappointment. I've seen men come back to me frustrated, saying, Doc, I tried it, but nothing changed. And when I ask them to show me where they applied it, they point exactly where I knew they would, right on the surface, right on the wrong spot. The reality is this: the secret is not where you think. The real key lies deeper in an area most men never even consider. That area is the lower abdomen and the groin, just above and around the base of the pelvis. Why here? Because this is where the major blood highways that feed your sexual organs begin. Running through this region is the internal iliac artery, one of the body's largest branches supplying circulation to the reproductive system. Every drop of blood that eventually reaches the penis first flows through here. If the river is weak at its source, the stream downstream will always be weaker. By stimulating this area with castor oil, you're not just treating skin, you're activating the source of circulation itself. And it's not only about arteries. The lower abdomen and groin are packed with lymph nodes and nerve roots. These nodes act like tiny checkpoints for immune function and fluid balance, while the nerves carry signals that control reflexes and sensitivity. When blood flow here stagnates, everything downstream suffers. Sensitivity decreases, response times slow, erections weaken. But when you gently warm this region, encourage those vessels to relax and calm the surrounding nerves, the effect ripples forward. It's like unlocking the main valve on a system that's been closed for too long. I had one patient, Samuel, age 72, who told me, Doc, after a few days of doing it your way, it felt like my body was waking up. He wasn't exaggerating. What he described was the ripple effect of circulation. By focusing on the groin and lower abdomen, Samuel wasn't just massaging skin. He was activating his body's central switchboard for blood flow and nerve response. Within days, he reported more warmth in the area, a stronger sense of vitality, and by the end of the week, morning erections he hadn't seen in years. That's the kind of transformation men miss when they apply the oil in the wrong place. The reason most men don't see results isn't because castor oil doesn't work. It's because they don't know the secret spot. They rub it where the problem shows up instead of where the problem begins. It's like watering the leaves of a tree but ignoring the roots. You'll never see real growth until you nourish the source. And this, gentlemen, is why the nightly ritual works for those who do it correctly. Because once you unlock circulation at its root, the rest of the system responds. Now imagine what happens when you combine this knowledge with the natural power of castor oil itself, the ricinoleic acid penetrating deeply, the heat lingering, the vessels relaxing, the nerves waking up. Suddenly, you're not chasing performance with a pill, you're restoring function at the source. This isn't just about improving erections. It's about improving blood flow to the entire pelvic region, supporting bladder control, reducing tension, and even calming the discomfort that so many men quietly endure but rarely mention. So let me be perfectly clear. If you've tried oils before and seen no change, it's not because your body can't respond. It's because no one showed you the real spot. The lower abdomen and groin are the forgotten keys. Stimulate them and the system responds. Ignore them and you'll remain frustrated. But knowing the spot is only half the equation. The next step is just as critical, learning the proper way to use castor oil. Because if you apply it with the wrong technique at the wrong time or in the wrong amount, you'll still miss the results. And that, gentlemen, is exactly what we'll cover next. Gentlemen, I've lost count of how many men have walked into my office and said, "Doc, I tried castor oil. Honestly, I didn't feel much difference." And almost every time when I ask them to show me exactly how they applied it, the problem becomes clear. Some poured half the bottle on themselves. Others rubbed it in quickly like lotion after a shower. A few tried it once or twice and gave up. And the most common mistake of all, they treated it like a chore. Not a ritual. The truth is, castor oil is not magic by itself. Its power comes from how you use it. And when you use it properly with patience and consistency, the results can be nothing short of remarkable. Step 1. Preparation. Before you even touch the bottle, prepare your body. Wash the lower abdomen and groin gently with warm water, or better yet, press a warm towel against the area for a few minutes. Why does this matter? Because warmth opens your pores, relaxes the surface tissue, and primes your skin to absorb the oil more deeply. Think of it like tilling soil before planting seeds. Without preparation, much of the benefit is wasted. Step 2. Less is more. One of the biggest misconceptions is that more oil means better results. Wrong. 3 to 5 drops, that's all you need. Place them in the palm of your hand. Rub your hands together to warm the oil. This small act is important. Warmth activates the oil, and it also tells your nervous system something intentional is about to happen. Step 3. Application. Now place your hands on the lower abdomen and groin. Use slow, circular motions in a clockwise direction. Don't rush. This isn't lotion you're slapping on after a shave. This is therapy. Spend 3 to 5 minutes moving gently, pressing just enough to feel warmth spreading beneath the skin. Imagine you're coaxing your blood vessels open, inviting circulation to flow. Because in truth, that's exactly what you're doing. Step 4. The heat seal. When you finish, take that same warm towel and lay it across the area for another 5 minutes. This simple step makes all the difference. The towel traps the warmth, drives the oil deeper, and stimulates the very receptors in your vessels that control relaxation and flow. I've had men skip this step and come back saying, "Doc, I didn't notice much." But those who commit to it tell me a different story. "Doc, I felt the warmth linger, I slept deeper, and by morning something felt alive again." Step 5. Timing. Timing, gentlemen, is everything. Do this about 30 minutes before bed. Why? Because that's when your body naturally enters repair mode. Your nervous system shifts into the parasympathetic state, the state of rest, recovery, and healing. Apply the oil then, and you're working with your body, not against it. You're giving it the tools to restore itself while you sleep. Now, let me be clear, this is not just about mechanics. This is about mindset. If you treat this as another task on your checklist, you'll grow impatient. But if you see it as a nightly ritual, a quiet act of care for your body, you'll begin to notice not only physical changes, but emotional ones. I've had patients tell me, "Doc, those 10 minutes became the most peaceful part of my day." That peace is part of the therapy. Stress tightens vessels. Calm opens them. Take Robert, age 68. He came in skeptical. "Doc, I've tried everything. How is rubbing oil going to fix this?" But he promised to give it one honest week. He followed the steps exactly. By day 4, he reported sleeping through the night without interruption for the first time in years. By day 7, he noticed his morning wood returning, not dramatic at first, but enough to remind him that his body was still capable. His exact words were, "It felt like my body was listening again." That's what happens when the ritual is done right. Every step has purpose. The cleansing prepares. The drops deliver ricinoleic acid deep into tissue. The massage stimulates circulation. The warm towel seals in heat and activates receptors. The timing aligns with your body's natural rhythms. Together, they create an environment where blood flow is restored, nerves are calmed, and vitality begins to return. But here's the thing. Even the perfect ritual can be sabotaged if your nighttime habits are working against you. Heavy meals, alcohol, caffeine, restless sleep, these can undo much of your progress. That's why the next section is critical. Because it's not just about what you do with castor oil, it's about how you treat your body in those quiet hours of the night. And when you get that part right, the results of this ritual grow exponentially. Gentlemen, by now you understand the technique, the right way to prepare, apply, and seal in the power of castor oil. But let me share something I've noticed after guiding hundreds of men through this routine. Two men can follow the exact same steps. Same oil, same method, same timing. Yet one sees results within days while the other struggles to notice any change at all. Why? The answer often lies in what happens after the ritual, in the hours of the night when your body is supposed to heal. For men over 60, sleep is the body's greatest repair system. It's when your nervous system shifts gears, when blood vessels relax, when hormones align to support recovery. But if your sleep is shallow, restless, or disrupted by poor habits, you rob yourself of the very environment castor oil needs to work. I've seen it countless times. A man does the routine perfectly, but he eats a heavy meal at 9 p.m., has a glass of whiskey before bed, then scrolls on his phone until midnight. By the time he finally sleeps, his body is fighting indigestion, battling alcohol, and overstimulated by blue light. In that state, circulation does not repair. Healing stalls. There are 3 common habits that quietly sabotage the results of this ritual. Late-night eating. Heavy food in the stomach diverts blood flow to digestion instead of repair. Your vessels remain constricted and circulation to the pelvic region suffers. Alcohol and caffeine. A nightcap may feel relaxing, but alcohol actually fragments your sleep. Caffeine lingers in your system for hours even if you drank it in the afternoon. Both prevent your body from reaching the deep, restorative stages of sleep. Mental restlessness, stress screens, and constant stimulation keep your nervous system locked in fight or flight. And blood vessels don't open in fight or flight, they tighten. The men who see the best results follow a few simple adjustments. Keep dinner light. A small meal of lean protein, vegetables, and healthy fats supports recovery without overloading digestion. Avoid stimulants after sunset. No coffee, no tea, no sugary snacks. Respect your body's clock. Skip the nightcap if you drink. And finish hours before bed. Let your liver rest while you sleep. Set the stage. Dim the lights. Put the phone away. Breathe deeply for a few minutes before lying down. Your nervous system will thank you. Even sleep position matters. Lying on your back with a thin pillow under your knees reduces pelvic tension and lets blood move freely. Some of my patients tell me this single adjustment changed their nights dramatically. Castor oil opens the door for circulation, but sleep is what pushes you through it. During the night, your body shifts into a state called the parasympathetic mode, the rest and repair state. This is when vessels heal, when nitric oxide levels rise, when your body essentially recharges. When you combine the oil ritual with deep, restorative sleep, the results accelerate. Men report stronger erections, fewer trips to the bathroom at night, and more energy during the day, not because of the oil alone, but because of the environment sleep creates for the oil to work. I remember Charles, 66, who came to me frustrated. He was doing the ritual, but after 2 weeks he saw almost no difference. When I asked him about his evenings, he admitted heavy dinners, a glass of wine every night, and late-night TV until 1 a.m. We didn't change the oil routine, we changed his habits. Light dinner by 7 p.m., no alcohol after sunset. Bedtime at 10 p.m. with 10 minutes of deep breathing before lights out. Within a week, his results shifted. Doc, it feels like night and day. I finally slept through and my mornings are stronger. That wasn't magic. That was alignment, ritual plus sleep working together. But as powerful as this method is, I must remind you, not every man should jump into it without caution. There are certain situations where castor oil requires careful use, especially if you're on medications or have specific health conditions. And that's exactly what we need to cover next. Because the last thing I want is for you to harm yourself while trying to heal. Gentlemen, before we move forward, I need to speak to you not just as a mentor, but as your doctor. Because while castor oil is powerful, safe, and natural, it is not for every man in every situation. No method, no matter how promising, is ever truly universal. And over the years, I've seen men so eager to reclaim their strength that they rush into every new routine without asking the most important question: is this right for me? That eagerness is understandable. After years of frustration, when you finally find hope, you want to act immediately, but wisdom comes in knowing your boundaries. The first group who must be cautious are men on certain medications, especially blood thinners and vasodilators. Here's why. Castor oil itself encourages blood vessels to relax and expand. This is usually a good thing, but if you're already on drugs that lower blood pressure or thin your blood, the combination can push your circulation too far. I had one patient, Harold, age 70, who ignored this warning. After just a few nights, he began feeling dizzy when he stood up. Fortunately, nothing serious happened, but it was a wake-up call. The message is simple: if you're on these medications, check with your physician before adding castor oil to your nightly routine. The second caution involves your skin. The lower abdomen and groin are sensitive areas. If you have a history of eczema, fungal infections, or strong allergies, test the oil on a small patch of skin first. I've had patients come in with rashes not because castor oil is unsafe, but because they skipped this simple step. Your skin is the gatekeeper. Respect it. Make sure it welcomes the oil before you commit to using it nightly. Men who have recently had abdominal surgery, hernia repairs, or who live with certain liver conditions must also use caution. The ritual itself is gentle, but these situations make the area more vulnerable. Again, it doesn't mean castor oil is harmful. It means your body needs time and sometimes professional clearance before you proceed. I recall one man in his late 60s who had just recovered from a hernia operation. He was eager to try the oil, but when I explained the risk of applying pressure too soon, he agreed to wait. A few months later, healed and stronger. He began the ritual safely and experienced great results. Patience served him better than haste ever could. Now, let me be clear, I'm not saying these cautions to discourage you, Quite the opposite. I want you to succeed, and success only comes when you respect your body's limits. Too often, men see warnings as barriers, but in reality, they are guideposts. They keep you safe on the path to recovery. Ignoring them is like driving at night without headlights. You may move forward, but the risk is far too high. So if you fall into one of these groups, what should you do? The answer is simple. Don't abandon hope, just seek guidance. Talk to your doctor. Test your skin first. Give your body time to heal if you've had recent surgery. Remember, the ritual is not a race. It's a partnership between you and your body, and the men who see the best results are the ones who respect that partnership. For the majority of men, castor oil is both safe and effective when used properly. But acknowledging these cautions doesn't weaken the message, it strengthens it. Because when you proceed wisely, you can move forward with confidence, knowing you're on solid ground. And once you've cleared these considerations, you're ready for something exciting. A simple, structured plan that brings all the pieces together, the technique, the timing, the sleep alignment, and condenses them into just 7 days. 7 days, gentlemen, that's all it takes to begin feeling the difference. And in the next section, I'll walk you step by step through that 7-day castor oil plan, the very schedule I give my patients when they ask, "Doc, how soon will I know if this really works?" Gentlemen, one of the most common questions I hear is this: "Doc, how soon will I actually notice a difference?" After years, sometimes decades of frustration, no man wants to wait months for results. I understand that. When your confidence feels like it's hanging by a thread, you want something you can feel, something tangible, and you want it soon. That's why I created what I call the 7-day castor oil plan. It's short enough to stay motivated, but long enough to show your body's first signs of recovery. Think of it as a reset button, a week of reminding your circulation and your nerves how to function the way they were designed to. Days 1-3, awakening the system. The first 3 days are not about dramatic change. They're about waking up a system that's been sluggish for years. Each night, you apply the oil with the proper steps: cleanse, 3 to 5 drops, circular massage, warm towel, and timing before bed. In these early days, men often describe subtle shifts: a gentle warmth, a deeper sleep, a sense of calm in the pelvic region. It may feel minor, almost like nothing at all. But underneath the surface, your blood vessels are responding, nerves are softening, and tissues are beginning to relax. I call these the foundation days. Without them, nothing else sticks. Days 4-5, early signs of change. By the 4th and 5th nights, many men notice the first real signs. Some wake up surprised by the return of a morning erection they haven't felt in months. Others describe a new sensitivity in the pelvic area, small tingles, warmth, or even just a lighter mood throughout the day. This is circulation doing its job again. The vessels are opening, blood is flowing more freely, and your body is remembering what it means to feel alive. I remember one of my patients, Richard, age 65, who told me after day 5, "Doc, I didn't believe you at first, but I woke up this morning and it felt like my body hadn't forgotten me after all." That's the kind of shift that reminds you this isn't just theory, it's your biology responding. Days 6-7, the breakthrough. For many men, the 6th and 7th days are when the changes become undeniable. The warmth is stronger, the tension in the pelvic area is lighter, and those frustrating nightly bathroom trips may already be fewer. Some men even report sleeping straight through the night for the first time in years. Others feel a strength in their erections returning, not with force from a pill, but with the quiet confidence of natural circulation. One man told me, "Doc, by the end of the week, I didn't just feel better, I felt younger. Like my body had remembered something it used to know." 7 days may not fix everything, but it proves something essential: your body is not finished. It still has the capacity to respond, to heal, and to restore. And once you see that first proof, the motivation to continue becomes unstoppable. I need to be clear: 7 days is the beginning, not the end. It's a spark, not the full fire. When men continue the ritual week after week, month after month, the benefits grow stronger and more lasting. Sleep improves, confidence returns, intimacy feels natural again. The body thrives on consistency, and the beauty of this plan is that it's simple. 10 minutes before bed, that's all. But perhaps the greatest change I see after 7 days is not purely physical, it's emotional. Because when a man wakes up and realizes his body still responds, even a little, he feels something he hasn't felt in years, hope. And that hope is powerful. It's the fuel that keeps men going. It's what rebuilds confidence, not only in the bedroom, but in life. And that brings us directly to the deeper truth. Because while circulation is the science, confidence is the soul. And in the next section, I want to speak to you not just about your body, but about your spirit. The emotional truth men over 60 must hear when they begin this journey. Gentlemen, after guiding thousands of men through this journey, I can tell you something with absolute certainty. The greatest battle is rarely just physical. It's emotional. When a man in his 60s or 70s sits in front of me, it's not only weak erections or nighttime trips to the bathroom that weigh him down. It's the quiet ache of feeling less like himself. It's the shame of turning away from his partner, the embarrassment of making excuses, the silent fear that the best years are already gone. And these feelings, more than any medical condition, can eat away at a man's confidence. I've seen proud men, veterans, business leaders, fathers, and grandfathers drop their eyes when they confess, "Doc, I don't feel like a man anymore." Those words are heavy. They carry decades of responsibility, sacrifice, and pride. And when vitality fades, many men feel they've lost a piece of their identity. They stop going out with friends, they shy away from intimacy. Some even avoid family gatherings out of fear they'll be seen as fragile. But here's the truth I want you to hear clearly: you are not broken. What you are going through is not weakness, it is biology. And biology can be guided, improved, restored. The most powerful part of this journey is not the oil itself, it's what happens when men realize their bodies still respond. I remember George, age 68, who told me with tears in his eyes, "Doc, after the first week I felt hope again. Not just in the bedroom, but in my life. I felt like myself." His story is not unique. Men who regain circulation don't just gain stronger erections. They gain the courage to laugh again, to connect with their partners, to walk into a room with confidence instead of doubt. That shift in spirit transforms marriages, friendships, even entire families. Because when a man feels strong inside, everything around him grows stronger too. I need you to remember this: masculinity does not vanish with age. It doesn't have an expiration date stamped on your 60th birthday. Masculinity is presence, it's energy, it's the willingness to stand tall, to love deeply, and to live fully. The rituals you are learning here are not about vanity. They are about reclaiming what has always been yours. When you rub those few drops of oil into your skin, you are telling your body, "I still matter. I still value my strength. I still choose to live with vitality." That act, simple as it is, carries emotional weight. It reconnects you with yourself in a way no prescription ever could. I recall another patient, Martin, 73, who stopped going out with his wife because he felt embarrassed by his health struggles. After 3 weeks of committing to the nightly ritual, he didn't just feel stronger, he felt worthy again. His words to me were unforgettable: "Doc, I didn't just get my body back, I got my marriage back." That's the emotional truth. What we're restoring isn't only function, it's dignity, intimacy, and the belief that you still belong in the game of life. Too many men suffer in silence because they believe aging is surrender. They believe nothing can be done. But when they finally see that even small changes create big results, their perspective shifts. They realize that life after 60 is not about decline, it's about resilience. The truth is, your body remembers, your spirit remembers. And when you give it the tools to heal, both body and spirit rise together. And that, gentleman, brings us to the final step of our journey. You now understand the science, the technique, the plan, and the deeper emotional truth. The only thing left is to bring it all together, to remind you of the choice you have today and the life that choice can give back to you. That's what we'll do in the conclusion. One last word, one final call, and one powerful reminder that you are not broken. You are still capable of living with confidence, strength, and peace. Gentlemen, we've come a long way together in this conversation. From the forgotten truth about circulation to the science of castor oil to the proper technique, and finally to the emotional reality that no one talks about, each step has brought us back to the same message: you are not broken. What you are experiencing is not the end of your masculinity. It is the voice of your body asking for attention, asking for restoration. And the good news is restoration is possible. Let's step back for a moment and review the journey. You now understand that testosterone, while important, is not the foundation of vitality. Blood flow is. You've seen why so many pills and quick fixes fail. They force performance without addressing circulation. You've learned that castor oil, through its unique compound ricinoleic acid and its heat-retaining power, penetrates deeper than any other oil to relax vessels and stimulate flow. You know the secret spot, the lower abdomen and groin, where circulation begins, and how stimulating this area ripples through the entire pelvic system. You've practiced the proper technique. Cleanse, apply just a few drops, massage gently, seal with warmth, and time it before bed. You've seen the role of sleep and nighttime habits in magnifying results, and you know who must proceed with care to stay safe. And you've walked through the 7-day plan, those first 7 days where your body wakes up, remembers, and begins to respond. But more than all of that, you've been reminded of the deeper truth: masculinity does not expire. It waits. It waits for the right signal, the right care, the right commitment. Now the question is simple: what will you do with this knowledge? You can leave it here, tell yourself it sounds interesting, and go back to the same routines that left you frustrated. Or you can begin tonight: 10 minutes, a few drops of oil, a warm towel, a quiet message to your body that you still care, you still value your strength, you still choose vitality. This is not about giving up something. It's about gaining back everything: your sleep, your intimacy, your freedom, your peace of mind. And let me remind you, this choice isn't only about you. When you take back your health, your partner feels it, your family sees it, your friends notice it. Vitality ripples outward. When a man feels strong again, everyone around him feels that strength too. I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s who swore their best years were behind them. And I've watched those same men just weeks later walk into my office with a smile I hadn't seen before. They weren't just healthier, they were alive again. Gentlemen, you still have that chance. Age does not define you, your choices do, and tonight you have a choice. So here's what I ask of you: start the ritual. Don't wait for another month, another year, another excuse. Begin tonight. Subscribe to this channel, not because I need numbers, but because you need guidance, and I will keep showing up here with science, stories, and strategies made for men like you. Click like. That one small click tells the algorithm this message matters. It sends hope to other men just like you who are searching at 3 a.m., wondering if they're alone. Your like might be the reason they find the answer. Share this video with a brother, a friend, or someone in your family. You never know who is suffering in silence. Leave me a comment. Tell me if you're starting the 7-day plan. Type the number 7 if you're in. If you think I can make these guides better, type 0. Either way, I read every comment because your voice matters here. Gentlemen, let me leave you with this blessing. May your nights be restful, your mornings strong, and your confidence unshaken. You are not finished. You are not broken. And your best years are not behind you. They are waiting ahead if you choose them. This is Dr. Jonathan Prescott. Thank you for trusting me with your time today. Now take action. Begin tonight, and I'll see you in the next episode.